Yep, now we're live. No more coughing.
Okay.
No more coughing.
If I could.
I know, but don't. I've got the controls as far as that. I just want to remember when you start talking to put you back on, so actually people can hear what you're saying. So we'll give it a shot. All right, ready, ladies?
Absolutely.
And let's begin in 3, 2, 1.
Hello? Are you ready? Yes. Then we'll begin.
I feel like I'm Nurse Ratched in the pneumonia ward today, but the girls are here with me. Thank you, Jesus. And we are going to give you the middle of Christmas show. So here we go, Monday Morning Catholic, episode 53. And if you didn't sing this weekend, shame, shame, shame. We are still in the Christmas season, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Joanne Mercier, your host and moderator, and we're back again this weekend for a little Monday Morning Catholic. But I gotta tell you, gang, they're sick. And they're here. And it's lovely to have them. So we're really glad they did show up. So, in the holiday spirit, because we're going to keep them happy but not, coughing up a lung,
Yeah.
have the very pale but yet here with us, Linda Reed, St. Thomas's in Providence, Rhode Island. Good morning, Linda. How you doing?
Good morning. I have definitely been better. It's not often. It's not often that I have to have a sub on a weekend of Christmas, but it happened this weekend.
I always say better Christmas than Holy Week.
Well, this is true.
Because Holy Week subs can really go nuts.
Oh, good grief! It's been a tough row. Let me tell you. But I'm hopefully now on the upswing.
We hope so too. And coughing up a lung down in Tiverton is Nancy Smith from St. Teresa St. Christopher's.
Hi, y'all.
Morning, Nance. How you doing? We haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I feel actually okay. I sound horrendous, and I had to canter this weekend because I was the least sick of the choir. So,
what does that tell you?
Yeah, what does that tell me?
Not exactly. A good thing. Well, we're just glad that you're here. We're just glad you're here. Stephen is still out playing and doing what Stephen does at this time of year, and he'll be back with us, believe it or not, on the 14th of January.
Yeah.
Because next week he actually has his big Epiphany concert. So important for him, and we hope he breaks a couple of legs, a few fingers, and an arm, just because you never say good luck to musicians. No, you never do. It's bad luck. It's like saying Macbeth in a theater.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. But so here I have the two. I was sick for Thanksgiving. Thanks be to God, I'm much better now. These two have been sick, so Holy Week will be a gas because no one will be ill.
We should all be well by then.
Hopefully.
It may take till then, but
exactly. And with no snow up here in New England.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I wish I had that on my bumper, the song "Snow" from White Christmas.
Not even any cold, Joanne.
No.
Never mind snow.
No, it was 55 degrees this weekend here in New England, and that's unheard of.
Let it be known, folks, there are some of us that don't care for the cold, and this is okay.
Yeah, it is, but I think we need a killing frost to get rid of some of these bugs.
Perhaps. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that, Linda.
Yeah, agreed. And as I was saying to the deacon this weekend, this gives us more of a chance of having snow during Holy Week. Holy Week is early, in the
right.
spring season, and we've been known to have spring storms.
Yes.
It's like, man, this is stacking up the percentages. I don't like it because we had nothing for Christmas.
Yes.
And, walking around in a vest instead of a coat
Really.
most of the week has been incredible.
And then
So-
you're singing all these lovely Christmas carols about the baby shivering in the snow. You know, it's
Yep.
like, no.
Please remember where the babe was born. He
Yeah.
didn't shivered in the snow either.
I know.
So, I mean, live and learn.
But we still had things to deal with. My pastor's car got stuck in the mud, so I have to take him out over to the other church after the 4 o'clock mass
geez.
so he could celebrate the 6 o'clock
Oh.
mass.
Oh,
So we had weather. We had weather, folks.
It got stuck in the mud.
By the time he got over there, the parking lot was full, and he pulled in where he thought he was okay. But we had so much rain at the beginning of the week that his car kind of sank
Oh,
and
geez.
sank
Oh,
and
ouch.
so yeah.
Dashing through the
Anywho,
mud. No.
yeah.
That's what it sounds
So
like.
we have had weather, folks.
We've had weather, but I could use a little white stuff. Nothing major, nothing, school
No.
closing type.
No, you're going north. We'll expect to go up there.
Well, yeah, I'm going to be hopefully taking a little trip to the northern country between Christmas and New Year's. That'd be kind of nice. We'll
Nice.
see if there's anything up there, but I hear there's nothing there either. So there you go. But we're not here to talk about the weather report. We're here to talk about the previous weekend's liturgies and try to make some sense out of everything that goes on between coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose.
Uh-huh.
And if you're a first-time listener or viewer, welcome. We're glad you're here. And we also talk about, other than those liturgies, we do talk about ritual in general, church music, technology, evangelization, Catholics in the news, pop culture, and anything else we feel like talking about. You can't shut us up sometimes. So, and if we try to stay within an hour, but sometimes, who knows. So grab your favorite cup of whatever, and I think today it's water all around.
Absolutely.
I asked them if they were drinking tea. No, they weren't drinking tea. Trying to push my old, voice remedy of slippery elm bark tea, but no one's buying it.
No.
Grab a cup, join us, and hopefully the three of us will not go off the rails. I think we already have.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go right into, because we got feedback, and we have a lot of feedback this week. Which
All right.
Hey,
very,
thank you.
we actually have feedback. Thanks so much. That's what we're looking for. So you've helped create the show this time. So here we go. Let's start with looking back at last week's readings, the last word on last week's word. And we have some feedback from Earl from New Orleans. Now, I love getting feedback from different places. It tells me that people are actually listening and
Yeah.
watching. But New Orleans is a place that I hope to visit, have not had a chance to visit yet. But we received this lovely email from Earl. And Earl, I got to tell you, it's so long. I have to say, 2 of the pieces of feedback that we got this week were so long. I can't use all of it in the constraints of what we're doing, but I will be happy to put in its entirety what we're talking about on our website. So I will do that for us. But Earl says, "Hey folks, I've really been enjoying your podcast." Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody say thank you. Every week I say I'm going to send feedback to talk about what I heard at Mass, but I never seem to get around to it. We know the feeling.
Yeah.
So I decided that this week I would send it early, and he did. Actually, it showed up in the middle of when we were recording the show last week.
Okay.
This weekend, one of our deacons, we call him Deacon G, gave the homily. Must be the time for deacons. I can tell
Yep.
sort of, the weekend before, the weekend after, the deacons are preaching.
The priests are preached out.
Basically, or they want to preach the Christmas news, and then, okay, you guys can do the rest.
Yeah.
He started off telling us that our time for waiting is almost over, but he wanted to read this poem to us to reflect on. And what it is a poem by a Marine Lance Corporal who was stationed in Washington, D.C. in 1986, and it is in the style of Clement Moore's Twas the Night Before Christmas. So I'll give you a couple of stanzas of it, but it's about as long as the original tome. So We'll put the rest up on the website, MondayMorningCatholic.net. So it starts out like this. 'Twas the night before Christmas. He lived all alone in a one-bedroom house made of plaster and stone. I had come down the chimney with presents to give and to see just who in this home did live. As I looked all about, a strange sight I did see. No tinsel, no presents, not even a tree. No stocking by the fire, just boots filled with sand. On the wall hung pictures of a far distant land. With medals and badges, awards of all kind, a sobering thought soon came to my mind. For this house was different, unlike any I'd seen. This was the home of a U.S. Marine. It goes on, picturing, the scene of this Marine being home, I guess, from war. And the end of it says, I didn't want to leave him so quiet in the night, this guardian of honor, so willing to fight. But half asleep he rolled over, and a voice clean and pure said, carry on, Santa, it's Christmas Day, all secure. One look at my watch, and I knew he was right. Merry Christmas, my friend, Semper Fi, and good night. It's a very nice poem.
Yeah, it is.
So I want people to get the gist of it. So we put it up on the website, I promise. Then compare Jesus to this Marine. Jesus came to earth of his own choice to fight for our souls. When he was born, he slept in a cleaned-out feeding trough. Joseph probably covered him with his cloak to keep him warm. He would later give up his life for us. So as we continue in our preparations for Christmas, we can carry on because all is secure for us. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. He really hit home today.
I'm sure.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as we get closer to the end of our preparation for the coming of the Lord, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I pray that God will bless each of you and your families. Well, thank you, Earl. We really appreciate that. It's a really, when you read the whole thing, it's a really hard-hitting poem.
Yeah.
And especially in a time where we still have folks, stationed all around the world. So thank you, Earl. Anytime you want to send feedback, please. Just whether it's in the middle of the show, we'll get it on the next week. This is why we do this segment.
And thank you, Earl. I have been to New Orleans a couple of times, and it's a wonderful, wonderful city. Enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah, I would love to go there. Linda, have you been there?
No, I've never been. Love to.
Yeah, it's a place where I would like to go once, please. Maybe, I'm not sure if I want to go at Mardi Gras or not, but I would love to see it.
There's no way I could go at Mardi Gras. I got to be home for Ash Wednesday.
That's true. What am I thinking? You
the
can't,
life of a pastoral musician.
You don't go away at Mardi Gras. You can't.
Heck no.
I did last year. I gave it to Betty. Anyway.
True, she did. And we did get another long piece of feedback from our friend John from Yakima, who we talked about last week. And this is a Christmas homily from his bishop, Joseph Tyson. That it's really long, and if I start it, and never going to get the whole gist of it. So both of these things will be up on our website for you to read. If I can put it also up on our Facebook page, I will. But the thing is, once I connect you to the website, just go over there. And I'll put it up on Facebook. Just go over to the website. Maybe you've never seen our website. It's a nice little website. I will be working on it this week. It's the one project I have between Christmas and the New Year is to try to revamp the website a little bit, to make it a little bit more user-friendly. So I will do that. The website is MondayMorningCatholic.net. You can also drop us email, which these folks did, at MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com. You can put it up on our Facebook page if you're brave, facebook.com/Monday Morning Catholic, or...
But here's my number, so call me, baby.
And that will wake you up. You can use our voice feedback line, 774-955-0659. You got to know that I have a cart that I use with all of these sounds, and some sounds are softer or louder than others. So I'm doing my manipulations here.
She's trying to wake us up.
Yeah, I'm also trying to keep awake because, man, I don't want to talk to myself today. I did the Christmas show without them, and I don't want to
Really?
do that. I just hate it when I'm... Although there are some people who'd say that I have no problem talking about myself. So, but I don't like it because it's better when I'm feeding
Yeah, it's
people.
better when you have somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
You got it. You
Or
got
with.
it. So I'm going to let them do some talking before they fall asleep.
Do you hear what I hear?
In our little segment called Do You Hear What I Hear, where actually all of us did hear the same readings this weekend on our side of the world, and I'll explain that in a minute, for the Feast of the Holy Family. Now, where you live, you may not have heard the same readings because there are options for this one. And I'm not because we always pick the same ones over here, I keep forgetting that there are options. So what I will do as I go through this now is I will start with the ones we used and then tell you if you didn't hear this, then you could have heard this. Okay, so we'll do it that way. So our Old Testament reading for this past weekend, the Feast of the Holy Family, was from Sirach 3, which I call, the caring of fathers and mothers.
Yes.
Basically, because it's telling you, take care of them when they're old and feeble.
Yes.
As if anybody needs to be reminded of that. But I guess, you would
There's
think
there's a lot of people that need to be reminded of that.
apparently.
Of caring in all ages, to all ages, yeah.
True. But it's funny that Sirach stops and talks about how valuable that is. Because it is easy, I guess it was easy in their time because of the conditions they were in, and it's different in our time because of how modern we are, that those who get older are basically pushed aside.
Yeah.
Because all the shiny new things are supposedly much better. So it's nice that Sirach reminds us once again that it's honorable to do this type of thing. So, and of course, my husband was lector this morning, and of course he's reading about taking care of his father, and my father-in-law happens to have Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So it really hit home for me.
Yeah, it was hitting home for you guys.
Yeah, it was. He read it really well.
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, I was like, I know. Now, you may not have heard that in your part of the world. The option was Genesis 15, which was Abram being promised offspring for his faithfulness and how much his progeny would be like as countless as the stars. So we hear that reading a couple of times in different forms, but this was the option that you could opt out of Sirach and do Genesis 15 today if you were also inclined in that way. The Psalm also had an option. We, of course, did Psalm 128, but we did, we didn't do the blessed are those who fear the Lord and walk in his ways. Ours was quicker.
How happy are those who fear the Lord?
Thank you. Since she knows it really well.
Well, I did it at the 4.
Right.
In these between Sundays and things, usually the attendance at church is not that stellar, shall we say?
Okay.
So sometimes, I know longer settings of that psalm than I do at weddings, but this seemed expedient for this particular feast. And they sang it well at the 4. I'm assuming they did at the other 2.
No, they did. They knew it, so they did, and
Yeah.
I was pleased.
It's one they know, so.
Yeah, it is one.
But yeah, it's how happy are those who fear the Lord.
Okay, Nancy, what did you do? Did you do a
Seasonal psalm,
You did a
all the ends of the earth, yeah.
Yeah. That's the other option. You can do the seasonal psalm for for Christmas and then for the Sunday after.
Yeah.
I used to change it at Epiphany, just
Yeah.
because I was odd, but I would do that. The other proper psalm of today would have been Psalm 105. The Lord remembers the covenant.
Which is a real corker.
Yeah, it is. If you really want to do 105, I think more people want to be happy and do.
Psalm 105 goes on forever, man.
Well, yeah. Well, it's still not 119.
Gee.
Nothing could ever be 119.
No.
Longest psalm in the book. Second reading from the New Testament. Now, the traditional is Colossians 3, with or without the wives being whatever part.
Whatever to their husbands, yes.
And you know what? I don't mind it.
And we did that.
We did. We
did
did.
that.
I don't mind it because it doesn't stop there. If it stopped there, then I would say, okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it continues, and it
It
says,
continues.
it continues with husbands,
Love your wife.
and then fathers, don't nag your children,
Yes.
which I know the kids all love.
I used to love that. I don't know if it's the same translation anymore. I don't think it is.
No, it
But
is.
I used to like the translation, fathers, do not nag your children lest they lose heart.
Yeah, let me see what the clean version is. The politically correct version now would happen to be, let's see, fathers, do not provoke your children.
Provoke.
So
That's
they
a whole different
become-
thing.
It does. It does. It says a whole different thing to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and the change of wives be subordinate from
Yeah.
submissive,
Submissive. Yeah.
which is really interesting because there's a difference between subordinate and
And
submissive.
submissive. Yeah,
Yeah,
there is.
absolutely.
There's a
One
big
of them is thrilling, but, there is a difference.
one's
One
less.
is more under the thumb, it seems to me.
Yeah, submissive is like, kowtow your forehead to the
Right.
ground,
Yeah.
Right.
So subordinate is just slightly better.
Right. But I wonder if Paul. Yeah, but then you get husbands love your wives and avoid any bitterness toward. What
Yes.
was the original? The original wasn't bitterness. It was something.
Oh, I don't remember that. I just, it wasn't bitterness, no. But I
No.
can't remember what the adjective was.
Yeah, but I miss the nagging your children. 'Cause
Yeah, do not. But nag and provoke, they're two different things.
They are.
Provoking is like poking you with a stick, goading you.
Yeah.
Where nagging is like make your bed, make your bed, make your bed. They're two different things.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, and if you didn't, oh, sorry, just dropped that. My phone didn't just break. No, it didn't.
Uh-oh.
No, I dropped the phone. If you didn't have the Colossians 3 reading, you could have had Hebrews 11, which is a little bit of a discourse on the Abram Genesis 15 reading. Because it's real, and this is the first time I've seen the second reading really tied to the first reading.
Yeah,
Because it goes on and it talks about, the whole thing about Sarah herself being
hardly
sterile,
ever happens.
how Isaac came and why this happened and blah blah blah. Very rarely happens. And it's the putting on of it's the direct discourse on Abraham's faithfulness. And then of course, whether you used an option, you had the Luke 2 reading, which is the presentation in the temple, but you could do the long version with Simeon or not. So
Which we did, the long
we
version.
did the long version. What'd you do, Nance?
I don't know.
She doesn't remember. She was coughing through the whole thing.
That was just where I was going to go. I was having some issues, and so I honestly don't know. I want to say it had to be the shorter version. I doubt it was a long version.
Yeah.
Volume-wise.
Volume-wise. Okay.
Time-wise, yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, folks.
Okay.
That's okay.
Again, we must help them this week because they're just not doing well, and I'm so sorry. All right, who would like to go first? Since I was in the same realm as Linda this week.
I'll go first.
Except that you were conscious.
Oh, I don't know how conscious I was.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I'll let Nancy. Nancy, let's hear what
Nancy will
Father
start.
Philip had to say.
Since we
I-
haven't
I-
heard from Nancy in a while, let's hear from Nancy.
Yeah.
And I will start by saying he was talking for a couple of minutes before I realized, I really need to pay attention to this.
Oh.
I'm just out of it. And so basically, obviously, he talked about the Holy Family and how the Holy Family equates to our family nowadays, and what example they set for us. The example of the big word in for our homilies recently has been perfect. How the example that they set for us is perfect, and certainly we can't raise ourselves up to be perfect because we are imperfect human beings, but it gives us the example to strive for. And he then opened the family idea to himself being the father and the parish being the family. that he's the father and that type of a thing. And so being the spiritual leader and such like that. I'm not going to go into too much because you all can understand where he was coming from on that. He said, and he said it, he was we have a senior retired pastor that serves our parishes as well, Father Jack Watterson, and he talked about the camaraderie, the family that they have together, if you will, because he doesn't have he's married to the church. We're married to our spouses and such and have children. He says, I'm married to the church. And he says, and I have Father Watterson. He says, sometimes I feel I'm married to Father Watterson. But he said it in a way that, meaning because we break bread together. We help each other. We serve each other. We are friends with each other and to each other. And so he gave a concrete example of that type of a thing and how that the example of the Holy Family extends to other areas. He also talked about his work with engaged couples to be married, and talks to them about the creation of the family that they're going to be doing very shortly in their married life, and that they need to grow together in order to, when their children start to come, enable themselves to bring another human being into the family, that is not just a husband wife together. It is a foundation for a family when that comes along. And the Holy Family, he says, that's our example. He says, go back to that. When in doubt, when in question, go back to their example and see what you can find there that would help you. And so we did a nice job. Nice.
This is when they take the time to talk about family. And they have to come up with some, we were saying in the beginning that deacons come at it from a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
Why? Deacons, why? Because they're married.
And for my pastor, he's from Poland, and he says, I don't have any family around here. He said, a lot of the priests have families around here. He said, my dad is in Poland with my sisters and my nieces, nephews, cousins. He says, I don't have family around here. He says, my family is Father Watterson. That's kind of where he drew into that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard for him.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that's got to be hard. But family is, we've gotten away from that nuclear family. It's nice to see this, talking about all types of families in this type of context. Mm-hmm. Linda, I know our deacon always starts with a lovely story.
Yeah. A joke.
Was no different.
He always starts with a joke. And it was actually a short joke this week. It
was.
So I can tell you what it was. A little girl goes to visit Santa Claus, and she sits on his lap and says, and Santa Claus says to her, well, hello, little girl. What would you like for Christmas? And she goes, well, didn't you get my email?
That was the joke.
That was it.
I laughed. I got it.
Usually Al's jokes are a lot longer than that, but he went for brevity. He went for brevity this weekend.
Yes, he did.
But basically, he talked about the changing face of the family, and how he quoted some statistics about how the percentage of families that are now labeled single-parent families, or other parent families, or grandparents raising grandchildren, or the various makeups of families. And I just thought, being coming from the realm of being married with a family, that a deacon's point of view, as you can tell by what Nancy just said, is somewhat different than a celibate clergy person, whose family may be far away or whose family may be close by, but it's a different point of view than somebody who is not the sort of the father of a family, so to speak, or the mother. Anyway, uh, give me some details, Joanne.
Details.
I know he talked about the changing face of the family, and that it's not our families nowadays are not the Holy Family. It's not mother,
they're
father,
not.
children. You know,
They're not.
it's what it's the way we relate to one another that makes us a family,
Right.
not the personnel that make up the family. It's the way we relate to one another that makes us a family in mutual respect.
Right. He was very short,
Yeah,
and that
It-
was.
It
And that,
doesn't sound. Yeah, it sounds like he made his point.
he
yeah.
made.
Well, he did.
That was the
He
whole thing.
did.
Yeah.
It's not the personnel. It's the way you relate to one another.
And that the Holy Family should be that type of example of relation. Because here you've got a baby to a mother, and then
Yes.
the husband is not the father.
Yes, yes,
Type of thing. It sounds like a modern soap opera.
yes.
It's not. It's the way God chose to take on flesh.
And it's the way they related to one another. Now, granted, they had a little help from some angelic visitations.
Oh God!
But
But
I mean, Joseph wasn't thrilled by this.
no, but when
Uh,
it came down to it,
But
you know,
it's his reaction, I think.
right?
That is the example that you sit there and it's not just. Yeah.
Yeah,
When it came down to it, and they did what was prescribed of them, as we hear in the reading, then they went home and became a normal family
right.
without any foreshadowing of having to flee to Egypt. But because, ironically, the Feast of the Holy Family was celebrated on the 28th of December, which historically is the Feast of the Holy Innocents.
Yeah.
Because we have all of these feasts during the octave of Christmas, which brings us right into, as I move from one place to another, the right stuff, liturgy and rituals. And through this season, just like Easter has its octave, Christmas has its octave as well. And the 26th, the day after Christmas, is the feast of the first deacon, the first martyr, and the first martyr.
First martyr.
Even. Was he the first deacon? We're not sure, but he was a deacon.
Well, he was a deacon.
Yep, the
And he
deacon.
was the first martyr.
Yes, deacon and the first martyr. No, the first goes in there somewhere. The 27th is the feast of John the Evangelist, the gospel writer. And it's funny because I was watching this past weekend the SQPN. I put this up on our Facebook
Yeah, I
page.
saw that.
Yeah, the lovely StarQuest production network had their podcast marathon to raise their money for the year. And there is a gentleman on there, Dr. Paul Camerata, who has done what is known as the Saint Cast. And his big claim to fame on the Saint Cast was he would tend to dress up as saints.
Ah,
Tell their story. So here he was sitting there saying, now today's feast is, and he's putting all these things, and he puts this flamingo, and he says, I know it's not an eagle. He said, but you normally see the picture of a book and an eagle, and
yeah.
trying to tell us it was the feast of John the Evangelist, which I thought was hysterical. The 28th, which got supplanted this year, and I'm not sure if they are going to celebrate it tomorrow, but I don't think that today on Monday, don't think they move that one. I think we just lose it this year. The
I think
feast
you
of the
just
Holy.
lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do.
The
That's
Feast of what?
the feast of the Holy,
Holy Innocents.
Innocence. Okay.
where the gospel of Herod killing off the male babies 2 years and younger.
Yep. No, I just didn't hear what you said. That was all.
Yeah. On the 29th, which is today, it would be the feast of Thomas Becket,
Yeah.
the English,
Another martyr.
another martyr. It's a whole bunch of martyrs this week. The sixth day in the octave of Christmas is, believe it or not, it's someone called Blessed Vincent Villar David, and that's a universal I know it's a universal one. I'm not familiar with that blessed
Don't know him.
person. On the seventh day, which is the 31st of the month, is Saint Sylvester I. Now that was a pope, so we got a pope in here. Of course, on January 1st, it's a holy day of obligation.
Again.
Let me say that again. It's a holy day of obligation. So
Yay.
time to go to church again, folks. I know people have a tough time on that day. It's the solemnity of Mary, Mother of God, which used to be the holy name of Jesus.
Which used to be the circumcision.
There you go. Yep. All the same thing, all in the same boat. The second, of
We're
course.
not sure what we're celebrating today, but we've got to be in church.
Yep. Well, it's nice to start off your new year in church.
Exactly.
But having changes to the Feast of Mary, the Mother of God, I think is appropriate for this time of year.
Sure.
January 2nd is Basil and Gregory.
Oh, Basil.
They were brothers. And
Actually, I think Basil is the spice, Basil is the man.
But I've heard it said both ways. I've heard it said both ways.
Only reason I know that is because my husband had a teacher in seminary named Basil.
So excuse me, Basil and Gregory.
Okay.
What?
When next time I do litany, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, what did Linda say? What did she say? What she?
Basil,
What was it?
Basil is what you put in your spaghetti gravy.
Yeah.
Okay, and Basil is the
But
second.
like
Basil
Joanne,
is the
I've
guy.
heard it I've heard it both those. Yeah. Okay. I've heard it more basil than I have basil, so.
So
Well,
have
it's because more people use basil.
Oh, there's a rim shot in here. So
Yeah.
there's got to be a rim shot in there somewhere. The 3rd of January is now the Holy Name of Jesus. It's considered the Holy Name of Jesus. And of course, the Sunday, which is the 4th of January, for us is Epiphany because they move it to the closest Sunday. But in the United States, it is the feast of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. I know that from just because being in this country. Because then the next one on January 5th is John Neumann.
Yeah.
That's the feast of John Neumann. And then, of course, the 6th is the actual Epiphany that everyone else celebrates in the rest of the world. Their little Christmas. I don't
I'm
know.
just happy they've moved it to a Sunday, though, because it's such a beautiful feast. I hate to have people miss it the way they miss all the other holy days.
I totally understand that one. I think Epiphany is an important one to move over, for Sunday. But it's tough when you're trying to do 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah, well,
I know.
it is. What
And
can
a
I tell you?
partridge in a
Yeah.
pear tree.
There you go. And in Canada and the United States, I guess the Universal Church too, it's Saint Andre Bessette. If it isn't Epiphany, but depends on where you live, you'll get that one. So there's your basic octave, +2.
Yeah.
But those are the celebrated feasts within the octave, up to Epiphany.
They come thick and fast.
They do, and there are a lot of martyrs for a reason.
Yeah.
So, folks, if you're not a daily mass goer, and you don't have to be, just check these readings out, though, because these readings that come this week all pretty much tie in together. We like it when they do that. So you can go to usccb.org because they have a daily calendar there, or unless you're so inclined to get these for your iDevices, iMissal is a great one.
Love iMissal.
I love iMissal. That's my go-to. Or let's see, iMissal, or what's the other one? There's another one. Can't
Not
think.
Not Universalis.
No.
No.
No, Universalis has it. So if you're so inclined with Universalis, then you can do that.
I just find iMissal really easy to use.
It is. It is. And the good thing about iMissal is you can say, I only want the readings. I want the whole thing. I want commentary. I don't want commentary. It's kind of and it's a decent priced app. It's like $4.99.
I want you to read it for me.
It will read it for you. There's another thing it does, which is a beautiful thing. So anyone, just take a look at those readings this week if you do nothing else. Hey, look, the coughing's been good, so I'm not.
I know, it's been
not
good.
anybody.
It really has.
So take a look at those readings this week to continue on your Christmas journey. Let's just roll back to Christmas for a minute because, again, I was for the Christmas special. So I'd like to find out from these ladies, A, how their Christmases went, and B, what readings did you use? And then we have some feedback for this. So let's start with how was your Christmases and what readings did you use?
Christmas went well.
Oh, good.
I'm just trying to. I wasn't thinking about this part of it. The readings we sadly did all the same readings at all vigil, night, and day. We did all. I believe all daytime readings. We didn't do the vigil readings or the nighttime readings.
Oh, you did all the daytime meaning the Mass at dawn with the shepherds and the.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh. Okay.
No, the day, not the dawn. There's a day, yes.
Oh, you did the word?
Yeah.
You did John?
I believe so.
The
I have
word.
to think about. See, I wasn't going back.
You didn't read the Christmas story?
Yeah. Well, see, he chose he chose his readings. I believe that the lectors, the first and second readings, were the same at all three masses.
Right.
What he chose to read, he might have chosen from the other. We did have the Christmas story, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
I was gonna say that's a first. I've never heard somebody do John all the way through.
Yeah.
No. So he was because I remember the Father Watterson, Jack, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, came by and said, "What readings are we reading?"
Yes.
Ow.
But when I went up there, I saw they were open to the vigil, and I saw her go,
Yeah.
and I'm going, oh, till she got to the day readings, okay, and the same thing for the all masses. But he did read the correct reading for the Christmas reading is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, the one from midnight.
Right.
Which is, a census came from Caesar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And Linda, what did we?
Oh, that's what. At the vigil, we read. We did not read the vigil because that was the children. Which I have to say, my group of kids this year was great. I had cantors that were wonderful. I had soloists that were wonderful. And the whole group, except for one little fella, really could sing. We had one little fella who was so earnest, and his father was so proud, but he couldn't sing for nothing.
Oh, jeez. You did not put him near a microphone, I take it.
Well, it was kind of hard to hide him.
Oh,
you
jeez.
know? But he was not near a microphone, but anyway. But so we read obviously the Christmas story, gospel, and the readings that go with it. At midnight, we read the midnight readings, and during the day, we read reading 1 and 2 from during the day, and the Christmas story gospel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had. I tried to get a children's choir together for the 4:00 mass.
Yeah, you usually.
And I know that. Well, I had the 3 girls that have followed me since I've been there, and they're now teenagers.
Yeah.
So I had 3 teenagers and an 8-year-old boy, and
Ooh.
it went well. It went, and I'm trying to talk them all into joining the youth choir.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But so I didn't have children per se, except for Carter, the 8-year-old young man, and he was fine.
Oh.
It was a little different because I'm used to seeing little kids, teenagers, and then the adults that show. I didn't have any, just but one little kid,
Wow.
one Carter.
Now, I had one young lady who played the flute, and she'd only been singing for a couple of years. She did such a great job. I was trying to talk her into joining the adults.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
We had trombone, flute, clarinet at
There
the
you
4
go.
o'clock. The youth of the parish in the choir.
nice.
Yeah.
Trombone's an interesting one to score, but that's
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Right there.
he did. Father Shemek also sang with us. He joined the youth choir, and he taught us a refrain to a Polish song. And he sang part of it in Polish. We sang the refrain with him, and then we sang part of it in English.
nice.
And so I brought the
Oh,
trombone in with the melody at the beginning and end. So yeah, it worked out well.
That worked out.
Yeah, something a little different.
Yeah. In Cranberry Country, believe it or not, and I was quite surprised. The vigil reading, the vigil had the vigil readings. I hadn't heard that in ages. And the place was packed with children where I was. Now, you have to understand, there were 4 vigil masses going on at the same time.
Boy.
Okay? In Rochester, no, wait a minute, am I right? Yeah, in Rochester, they had a 4, I believe. I want to say, now I'm ringing my head saying they had a 5. But in Middleborough, there were 2 masses, one in the church, one in the hall across the street, because that's how loaded it is.
Yeah.
And they cannot use the choir loft in Middleborough for seating because it's condemned.
Yeah.
So the
So
choir
is the organ up front in Sacred Heart?
Yeah, choir's up front. But I mean, the organ, everything is up front, because the structure of that choir loft, they probably have to put a lot of money into it to fix it.
Mm.
It's not very, I don't want to say it's condemned, but it's just not, you don't want to put anybody up there. You don't want to put like a bunch of bodies up there and
Right.
in Christmas mode. So they have everybody across the street in the hall. And the hall's quite sizable. So there's another mass going on there. And then in Lakeville, there was a 4 o'clock. And we have a choir loft too that's not used because the choir folks are up front. Ours up there in Lakeville is fine. So they did allow them to go upstairs. But I even said to the folks there, I said, next year we might consider simulcasting it downstairs in the hall.
Mm.
Because I think we had enough people that would go downstairs in the hall. Because the place was packed. Believe me, right before he started his homily, he turned on the air, the fans.
Mm.
So warm in there. So, but I actually heard the vigil readings for the first time.
Nice.
Yeah, I never, actually, the 3 masses I went to, I heard almost all the
The
proper.
appropriate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, wow, when does that happen?
Really. Really.
Never. So it does happen, but again, the wisdom of the pastoral practice is, if that's the one thing you're going to hear
Mm-hmm.
on Christmas Day, you talk about, Caesar Augustus and the census and
The census, yes.
Yep.
that's what you do.
The stable and the manger and the animals and.
Yep. And the monastic tradition goes right out the window. But
Because we don't live in a monastery anymore.
Exactly. Exactly. But it was nice. I will just say it was nice to hear it. And it was done well. Every mass that I went to was done well. People practiced. People knew where they were going. Nobody passed out.
It was warm.
It was warm. And I was
warm.
surprised nobody passed out.
Yeah.
It was warm.
That's where you get an altar server that might take a header because they're holding the book too long, for whatever reason, or any manner of people in the assembly just getting overwhelmed. But surprisingly enough, and I will say, I did say that my pastor had us bring flashlights to the 4 o'clock mass because he wanted to talk about Jesus being the light.
Hmm.
So it was a very effective use of props, and I'm not a big prop person, and those of you who know me know how I feel about kvetchy little things, but it was done well.
The one thing we had to it wasn't kvetchy, but it was the new thing that we got to introduce to the parish on Christmas at the vigil masses were our new bells.
Oh,
the new bells. That was going to be the first time that the new bells would be rung. Yay! And so he didn't use them as call to worship. He used them at the end of Mass.
Yeah.
And if you listen very carefully, you can hear them. He says, and I'm going, oh God, I'm not going to hear them. I'm not going to hear them.
No.
I'm going. My hearing aid's going to mess me up. But it took a few seconds to kick in, and then you could hear them. It was lovely, lovely.
I was kind of glad because when I first got to St. Teresa's, the bells rang all the time, and then they were silenced. They broke.
Well, they broke, yeah.
So it's kind of nice to hear that now that they're back again. That's a good thing to hear.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. We are going to go right over to Catholics in the news and pop culture to round out our day today here. And there were some things in the news, and I did mention one of them on the Christmas podcast, but I didn't use these words. Must be nice in Vermont this time of year, all that. No, quote, White Christmas.
Congratulations, Vermont.
Yep. Congratulations again to the Diocese of Burlington, Vermont. You have no idea what you're getting yourselves into, but it's
Yeah.
it's a
It's
good.
all good.
You're going to love it.
Yep. You're going to love Bishop Christopher Coyne as he gets ready to go over. In fact, he had to go. He went to Vermont to do all of this, went back to Indy to do his Christmas masses, then came back for a scheduled vacation because the week he was supposed to be home. So I'm sure, knowing him, he'll probably take a ride up to Vermont one day this week. Start getting a head start on things and stuff. And he will definitely, his installation is set for January 29th.
Nice.
So I'll see if I can score an invite.
Ah, that'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice if Monday Morning Catholic could go on the road for the installation.
Ah,
I'll make something out of it, but if it snags me, and look, I couldn't go for his ordination.
Right.
I couldn't go for his bishop ordination to Indy, and this is a heck of a lot. 4 hours is a heck of a lot closer.
oh, yeah. You
Then
can drive to Vermont.
Yeah,
Hard to drive to Indianapolis.
the only thing is snow.
Yeah, well,
Will it finally snow
yeah.
up there for this thing? We'll have to wait and see, but I think you're in for a treat. So, but the problem is, and I said this on the podcast, if y'all didn't hear it, he was scheduled to be coming on our podcast eventually within the next month or so, and that may now get all just thrown out the window.
Well, we may have to give him a few months to get settled, and then he can come on.
And
we could have another special.
Well, we could have a special, we could have whatever, but he was just planning to come on for a normal, a normal weekend with us Monday morning, but we'll see. But congratulations all around up there.
Absolutely.
And something I didn't discuss on the Christmas podcast was the Pope had a little talk this week, which has been all over the news and then some, about and apparently he does this every year. We'll have a nice little chat with certain groups at the Vatican, and one of them, of course, is the Curia, the body of bishops, archbishops, cardinals that basically run the Vatican city-state. And he took them to task nicely, apparently. But, of course, everybody has heard the term spiritual Alzheimer's, which has been coming out of this as one of those deadly diseases that could affect
let's look at it this way.
stagnant people.
Let's look at it this way.
Look at it. Anyway.
The bishop in his diocese is supposed to be the prophet, the teacher, the governor, okay? Yeah. The Pope for the world is supposed to be the prophet, the teacher, the governor. He was simply fulfilling his function. And not mincing any words, but saying, look, we need to fix these things.
Yeah. And do some of those things need to be fixed? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's
but the press makes it out to be this great, ballyhoo, whereas he's simply fulfilling his function as Holy Father.
Right. Yeah. And they clamped on to that soundbite of spiritual Alzheimer's, but the one I like is existential schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, yeah, that's
my favorite one.
Existential schizophrenia.
Only a Jesuit could come up with that term. Only a Jesuit could put those two words together and make sense of it.
And in Italian, yeah.
In Italian. Yep. I was just like, really? Now, I had to go back to my days of my master's degree, like, oh my God, I haven't heard anything like this since then.
Impressive.
But if you want to read that, I mean, the various Catholic news services, I would suggest you read it out of Catholic CNS or one of the Catholic news services rather than our lovely, media, mainstream media that we have, because you'll really get an idea of what he was saying. And it breaks down every one of those 15 points that he was saying. And no, he wasn't, yelling at them, and he wasn't, shaking a fist or.
Well, interestingly, is he could have been saying that to any one of us.
Exactly, and somebody brought that up.
One of the points he was talking about was gossiping. As simple as gossiping.
Yep.
Will you guys quit gossiping about each other?
Oh, telling church people to stop gossiping is like, because everything is like.
Could it be?
Yeah.
I mean, church people gossip like you wouldn't believe.
And he could have
We
been
all
telling
do.
this to any of us. It
Absolutely.
was just that he took the bull by the horns and told it to the curia.
Yeah. So he should, and it should be a cautionary tale for all of us.
Right.
So if you think they're the only ones who got dressed down, read again.
Yeah, right.
I did read it a few times, and I was like, okay, yeah, I get your point. I'm there. So, but give it, tis the season. He's been saying a lot of things lately, and I hope, and people seem to be happy with him. In fact, his rating as far as popularity is surprisingly high.
Oh, yeah.
For a Catholic Pope. Surprisingly high. And he's saying more things that should turn people off than our good, St. John Paul II.
Yes.
And they still love him.
They still do.
It's a very interesting thing. I love it. If it helps bring people back to the church.
That's it.
Yeah.
I can see a genuineness in the man.
Yeah, I think that's part of what is appealing to people, that this guy is saying things that they've been wanting to hear and needing to hear for a long while.
But again, Linda brought up the great point of it's not just the clergy that needs to.
Oh, absolutely.
No,
I absolutely agree.
And we need to hear this too.
Mm-hmm.
So we better heed the warnings. He's given it to us, and he's not mincing words. So
right.
We're going to end with the lovely, which is whatever we want to talk about.
Well, here's one thing. It's going to have to be really quick because I'm overdue for my meds, and I'm going to start coughing really soon.
Okay, so New Year's resolutions, gang. This is easy. New Year's resolutions. What do you see? What do you see coming down the pipe in the new year? What are you resolving to do better, do less of?
Oh, geez. There's always
Take
something.
better care of myself.
Yeah, well.
I think all three of us should say that after.
Yeah. It's it's the kind of thing where you just step up and do your job. You do what needs to be done, and whether it's done or not done matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe there's a fault. Maybe sometimes I should just let things go.
But it's a mentality that we all have, that you're just describing, that we do our jobs, and sometimes it's to a fault of our health. That's the one thing that gives. Yeah.
Yeah, we do, and we can't do that. We have to try and take care of, because if we're not taking care of ourselves, how can we minister to others?
True.
Isn't that kind of false?
And I'm not saying just so I don't get sick. I'm just saying all around take care of myself, because I have let that go, and I just need to start to, as much as I am aware of my job and of my family and everything else that I am putting on the top burner, I need to put myself there too.
Isn't that one of the things the Pope talked about, being too much of a professional Martha?
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody described it. We as ministers fall into that category.
We do. Yeah. We tend to do that. Sometimes I think women tend to do that,
Yeah.
It's like if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. And so because it matters to me that it gets done, I do it. Yeah.
And get done well.
Yes.
Yes. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, my friend.
Well, I think the best resolution we can do is to continue to be the best Catholic Christians we can be.
You give it the best shot. It's not easy.
No, no, it's not. And I think that, I will resolve, at least for this show, that we will continue to try to bring you the best programming we can, with as much education and entertainment and, what was it, education, entertainment, and enlightenment, was something
There
along
you go.
those lines.
3 E's.
We have 3 E's. Yes, we will try to do as much that and much more in the new year. Again, you can reach us by dropping us some feedback at MondayMorningCatholic.net, MondayMorningCatholic@gmail.com, Facebook.com/MondayMorningCatholic. You can use our voice feedback line, 774-955-0659. And I have to apologize to Tiffany before we go, because we were going to talk about what she left on the Facebook page. And
Yes.
since Christmas is still going on, and yes, it goes on until the baptism of the Lord, I will put that on the burner for next week, and we will talk about
Next
it.
week, Tiffany.
Yep, we got it. And hopefully, I don't know who's going to, well, I know Nancy is not going to be
Hopefully we'll be healthy next week.
here. Linda and I will be healthy.
Yeah, I've got a family commitment next week.
She has a family commitment. But all of us will be back on the 14th, of January. Hopefully the whole group of us will be. So
Yeah.
you'll actually see all 4 of us in one place again. Wouldn't that be?
It could be.
It could be. Could be.
So continue to celebrate Christmas now. Send those carols loud and proud out of your
That's
car
right.
window to annoy everybody else who's been listening to them since November. But again, spend time with family and friends, and spend some time in church, thanking God for all the good things He's given you throughout this year. So for Nancy Smith, Linda Reed, and myself, Joanne Mercier, we thank you for watching. We hope you continue to have a wonderful Christmas season. And ciao for now. See you next week.
Bye.